Hello class, today's backwards design video is about our unit on the Vietnam War and the drafting process for that war. It's the lesson we're going to do today. If we're going to decide if we would go to war if we're in that situation, if we wouldn't, would we be deserters? How did people feel about it back then? And put yourself in their shoes, what you would do, and we're going to learn about that whole drafting process. So the first thing we're going to do, or want you to do, is watch this video. It's a song by Charles Daniel Band, still in Saigon. Tells about his story about being there, or maybe someone that he knew that went there and how they were feeling when they came back from the war. So really think about the emotions that go into it, maybe some of the civics and the history that goes into this video. Pause this video, and I want you to open that link and watch it. I'm not going to pull it up. You can pull it up yourself. All right, now that you've watched the video, I want you to do the do now, which is on this Jamboard if you click that link. And I'm going to ask you this do now, it's worth 5 points. Would you join the war cause with open arms, or would you try to avoid going to the war? Please answer in 3 to 5 sentences. I gave an example here. I said, after watching the music video, I feel like I would try to avoid the war if I could legally. If I was called upon by the draft, I would believe I would join the war. And because in my thoughts on this, my why is I think I would join the war because my grandfather was part of that WW2 war, and it's kind of in our family. So that's my perspective on it. I want you to give your perspectives, and we'll go over in class tomorrow. We'll have a class discussion, maybe break out into some groups, and we will share our thoughts and opinions on that. So pause this video, give yourself some time to do your 3 to 5 sentences. All right, now that you've done your 3 to 5 sentences, our learning objective today is that I want you to be informed on the techniques the United States government used while drafting for the Vietnam War, as well as what qualified troops needed to be in the draft. So we're going to learn how the draft works, how people are selected for the draft, why people were opposed to the war, and why people chose to be deserters of the war. And then I'm going to ask you to watch these 2 videos. I'm trusting you to open these, watch these. They're 3 to 4 minutes long. And it gives you a first-person perspective of people back then on their thoughts on the war and how the draft worked, how the war started. And then the second video is opinions of people that were opposed to the war deserters. And it shows some people joining big protests and burning cards. And you can relate that to today's world for Black Lives Matter, whatever the protests are that matter to you, maybe why you would join that protest. But right now, we're talking about the Vietnam War and the draft. So here's your vocabulary words. I want you to write this in your vocabulary journal. The 5 definitions we have for today are deserter, conscientious, conscription, deferments, and refuge. So take some time to jot those down in your vocabulary journals. You can pause this video. When you're done, you can restart it. So some of the qualifying characteristics you would need to be part of the draft. There were people that enlisted that were very for the war and they believed to fight for their country. But there are also a lot of people that didn't want to go to war or were reluctant, and we needed the numbers. So the United States government comes up with a draft. We've had a draft before, but they adjusted it a little bit. You have to be an American citizen. Men were assigned to lottery numbers according to their birthdays. So if you were at the beginning of that lottery number, you had a much better chance than if you're at the end of those lottery numbers. And men had to be 18 years old. They had to meet physical and mental health qualifications, and they had to have no felony convictions on their record. And then ways people that tried to avoid the war, the draft. They had to be conscientious objectors. They had to make up health conditions. Well, they didn't have to, but they chose to try and avoid the war. They had to have children who needed you. And some people would try and fake this, and some people were genuine. They actually had children that needed them to stay home, either because they're a single parent, didn't make a lot of money, various reasons. Some people would be and even make up being homosexuals because homosexuals were not allowed in the war at this time. It was just recently that women, people that identify as different genders, homosexuals, lesbians, LGBTQ community, that's just recently that they're allowed to be in the war. So a lot of people would make that up. You could run away to Canada. You could go to college. So further your education, they would not make you go to the war. And you could have a high lottery number, like what I mentioned before. So if your birthday was at the beginning, most likely you were getting drafted. If you're at the end, most likely you weren't going to be called upon. And or you had to hold an essential civilian job that would help fund the war. And I'm sorry, my video is paused for some reason. My computer's being slow. So until my video gets back, we're going to continue without my video. So the assignments I want you to do, I want you to read this article. It's 2 pages long, pretty easy read. And then I want you to make your own draft card. Just have a piece, you could do this in your journal. If you have a piece of paper at home, maybe a color paper, maybe a note card. I made my own example card, draft card, and this was from a real life draft card from back in the Vietnam War. This is someone that actually went. So they have the date that it was sent, the service number, classified in the class. We'll go over this tomorrow. Date of the classification, randomly selected numbers. So that was like the lottery, your birthday, your social security number, which I didn't put. Please don't put your social security number. What color my eyes are, hair, height, weight, and then my last name, first name, middle name. And then I couldn't sign because I was on my computer, but if you're making this on paper, you can sign. If you want to do a digital form of this, you can do that as well. Just email it to me or put it on Schoology. So this is the example one. If you want to do it on the computer, you can take a snapshot, put it on Word, and type in those yellow boxes. And then your homework for the night is going to be to decide if you will honor the Vietnam draft or will become a deserter after you learned about all this information, watched the videos, read the article. You make your decision now. Once you decide, write 2 paragraphs stating at least 3 reasons for your decision. You must use at least 1 vocabulary word while writing your 2 paragraphs. You'll meet with other students who decide the same as you and share your reasonings for tomorrow. And then once you share with them, we'll meet with the people that were on the other side and we'll have a class discussion at the end of class. So make sure you do your homework, you have your draft card, vocabulary words in your journal notebook, and the do now. And that is today's backward design lesson. I will see you in class tomorrow.